Hey, it's Shroomy, and Halloween is on the horizon. If there were any year to spend it inside playing video games, this would be it. No doubt Animal Crossing is a top pick for this activity as it allows you to experience the spirit of Halloween virtually. So, to answer that, I'll be ranking all 5 games based on how enjoyable they are and what you get from them. So, let's hop right in. Number 5, Wild World. This game actually got rid of all real-world holidays, so if you are looking to enjoy Halloween, here you will be sorely disappointed. However, this game did introduce accessories and hats along with costume clothing, so you could at least dress up for what that's worth. Number 4, GameCube. This was, of course, the first time having Halloween in an Animal Crossing game, so no surprise, there are some kinks in it. Anyway, here's the basic gist. You buy candy throughout the month, then on Halloween, you have to find Jack and give him the candy to get the items from the Spooky series, all while avoiding villagers who will play a trick and turn items, including the candy in your pockets, into jack-o'-lanterns or jack-in-the-boxes if you don't give them candy. Oh, and they can also destroy what you're wearing if you refuse. So, let's talk the good and the bad here. The main plus is that the Spooky series looks best in this game. For some reason, it just doesn't fit well in City Folk or New Leaf. It just looks way more tacky, but it fits well in the game it was made for. And after that short list of upsides, now for the downsides. And that's not to say this is a bad event, it's just not as good as later ones that I'm comparing it to. And honestly, you could consider these things good if you're looking for a challenge, because this is playing Halloween on Pro. So first off, the villagers are crazy fast. Like, they are in fast zombie mode compared to later games' villagers. That coupled with acre lines and the smaller display of GameCube and doubling the wandering villagers makes them incredibly difficult to avoid, which in turn makes the search for Jack all the more tedious. Then on top of that, the GameCube map is larger than City Folk, so finding Jack is an absolute horror on a night when you should be out filling a pillowcase with candy, not a virtual house with dumb virtual jack-o'-lantern themed items. Anyway, back to smaller complaints. This game had very simple clothing options, so costumes were not a thing. Boohoo, whatever. Also, you can't get any candy day of, not even from Nook since he is doing his raffle, so you are left out in the cold if you made no preparations. And they kind of make up for this by selling 4 pieces a day, but if you share your town, that leaves you with 1 each a day, and having to store it until Halloween is kind of a logistical nightmare. And for my final downside, this is one that both City Folk and GameCube share, and it is that you are getting Halloween furniture the day of Halloween. AKA, you can't enjoy it throughout the actual spooky season. This problem is even furthered in GameCube since storage is really bad, like really bad, like you can only put 3 items in each dresser. So if you want to use these items throughout all of next spooky season, you're going to have to dedicate several dressers in your house to them. Unlike City Folk, which has a connected storage system that holds about 160 items. Anyway, so there's GameCube for you. It's still good stuff, just more frustrating than later versions. Number 3, City Folk. This game has the same base event as GameCube, but with slight improvements, like the villagers aren't too hard to avoid and the map is a little bit smaller. Plus, you can create costumes, which, to my surprise, villagers recognize as such, even though these pieces aren't specially sold around Halloween for the purpose of being costumes, like in later games. But if you talk to villagers inside, they give you a piece of candy for dressing up, and you can farm by simply walking in and out of their house and talking to them over and over. So there is no shortage of candy for this event. Also, it's kind of cool that you can use the candy from Eastern Festival, but since candy doesn't stack and storage is 10th the size of what it is now, I kind of doubt you'll have much on you 6 months after those events. However, what I love most is that they added Jack's head as one of the items you can get from being tricked, so you can wear it around with everyone else, and that's just super cool. As for things that suck, this event takes a whole lot of time on a night when you should be out with friends or family, and it's all just for items that won't fit the vibes just a few hours later. Also, since costumes aren't specifically sold around Halloween, it's pretty easy to miss that getting a costume together will net you free candy, but at the same time, it's very possible to put 2 and 2 together, so maybe that's a problem for some people, maybe it won't be a problem for some people, I don't know. So yeah, in my opinion, City Folk has a better version of Halloween than GameCube, despite being pretty similar. Number 2, New Horizons. Honestly, this game was so close to being number 1, and on paper, it totally was. But then I played through the day of Halloween, and I just didn't enjoy it quite as much as New Leafs. But before I get into what was kind of disappointing, let's get into what I love. First off, the Spooky series. I am in love with its redesign. I am so glad they decided not to make it a bedroom set, unlike the Bunny Day items. Also, unlike Bunny Day items, I'm glad we got to choose at what rate we obtained the crafting materials. You could go crazy growing tons of pumpkins and crafting tons of spooky items, or you could just buy from Nooks. Also, having access to these items a month early is glorious! And to sweeten the deal even further, this game lets you put stuff outside. I know decorating the majority of my island for Halloween was some of the most fun I've had in-game for a while. It also really got me into the spooky mood and all excited for Halloween, which of course is a great lead up to the actual event. Okay, now let's talk about the good in the day itself. NPCs dressing up brought me so much joy. I don't think I have to elaborate further on that point. It's pretty clear that Nook and Devil Horns is amazing. And seeing the villagers in costume is pretty freaking cute. Just look at little Vesta thinking she's too scary. It's good stuff. Much better than all of them looking exactly the same. I also enjoyed the customization they added to change your skin and eye color. That is just super fun, along with all the emotes. These are all just like nice little cherries on top to everything else I love about this event. And now for the things I wasn't thrilled with. And by saying that, I mean nothing here I like super hated and was like, ugh, the event is ruined because of it. So it was just kind of like, could be better. Not super happy with it, but not super mad at all. So like I'm just lukewarm about these things. I feel lukewarm. First off, the costumes. They were okay. I like that they were full body, but I didn't feel like they were particularly Halloween-y. Sure, mage and zombie were kind of, but a mage getup was already in-game, and I gotta say, I preferred the hat in that one. They all just kind of felt like stuff that could be sold any time of the year, like the mini costumes already in the game. I would have really liked to see something more classic Halloween, like a ghost or a vampire costume. However, I absolutely love the wings, but I only saw Kix once this month, so there's no way I'm gonna get the white ones I want. And for people who are at the point of only playing like a couple times a week, there's a good chance they're gonna completely miss these sick awesome wings. So, for the process of Halloween, major spoilers coming, I'm pretty happy with it. Like in City Folk, if you wear a costume, you can get unlimited candy from your indoor neighbors. But instead of just farming one, they make you farm everyone, which makes sense. You then give that candy to neighbors, and they will give you spooky recipes, items, and lollipops. You give the lollipops to Jack, and he gives you the real good Jack-exclusive items. Oh, and this time you don't have to search for him, since he just chills at Town Hall. All of this is absolutely fine. I like that this time around, giving candy to my neighbors rewards me instead of it being a resource I need to hide and hoard. But what I don't prefer is the small changes they made from previous games. Like, you have to choose to talk to a villager, and even then, if you don't give them candy, their prank of changing your makeup and skin color has close to 0 consequences. They even gave me a mirror to reverse it right away. I feel like these changes made the event more shallow, because you have nothing on the line. I'm also not a huge fan of the items they saved for the last day, like the spooky carriage. That's a big piece, and it's something I would like to have while I'm doing all my island decorating, not after the event is over. As for the other stuff, I don't really care for it, but I imagine you would want it if you were hosting a Halloween party. However, since everything starts at 5 p.m., you do have time to get the recipes and craft and decorate with them before people come over, although it'd be a pretty close call. It just seems weird to me. But compared to the carriage, I'm not too bothered by it. And I totally understand that that's a hard balance to have some things that you can get day of in 30 minutes and have stuff you can collect all month while also fulfilling the requirement of being able to cram it all into a few hours on the day of. So that's pretty forgivable. For my biggest complaint, which is once again not that big of a deal, when you dress like Jack, the villagers think you are Jack. Now, I am in love with them giving you the full Jack getup, so upon receiving it, I quickly donned it. But then no one was pinging me. I ran around for a while trying to figure out the problem. I started thinking that they cut you off after so many rounds. Then I talked to a villager, and I realized what was happening. They didn't ping me because they didn't know it was me. Maybe I'm just dumb, but I can see this being a problem for a lot of people. Just a little warning from Jack would be enough to fix this completely. But on the upside, dressing like Jack does give you a free piece of candy from every villager, so that's pretty awesome. Overall, it's a pretty dang good event. Just not as good as number 1, New Leaf. I gotta say, it was a huge surprise to me how much fun I had replaying this version of Halloween. The main differences in this version are that there are 6 scary masks you buy from Able Sisters throughout the month. Each villager is scared of a certain mask. If you wear the right mask while in their house, they will give you a lollipop for the first time and a candy every other time. But if you wear the wrong mask, they will challenge you to a game of charades or rock, paper, scissors. which sounds like a drag on paper, but was actually pretty fun. If you lose, they prank you, like they did in previous games. But here's the thing. To figure out what they are scared of, you have to give candy to the villagers outside who will give you hints. I like this balance a lot. It rewards you for giving them candy without taking the power of gift giving away from Jack. Also, if you don't give them candy, they do give you a chance to play the previously mentioned games, and if you win, they give you candy. Give this candy to Jack and he gives you the choice of one of the masks or a furniture item, which is most often from the Spooky series. Therefore, this whole event is self-contained. You can get candy the night of, you can get the masks night of, and you can get the furniture night of. But you can also speed things up night of by making preparations and buying all of the Spooky series from Nook and buying all the masks from the Able sisters. So you don't have to cram all of it into one night. Now you may be wondering, what is there to get night of if Nook sells the Spooky series? Well, I give you the Creepy series. Not only does it fit perfectly with Halloween, but you can actually use these items year-round, unlike a jack-o'-lantern covered bedroom set. It's all just too perfect. You can have Halloween stuff before Halloween, you get really cool items the day of Halloween, all the masks are classic Halloween, you feel like a detective solving who is scared of what, and it's all doable night of, but it can be sped up if you make preparations. It truly does deserve a spot at number 1 and a playthrough on Halloween night. So there you have it, my ranking and I guess mini reviews of each Halloween. I would love to hear your thoughts on the different versions or any Animal Crossing Halloween memories you have down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching and have a happy Halloween!